Hello, students, and thank you for selecting this career interview. I am here today to interview Dawn Greenfield, Ireland. We are so happy to have you. Thank you for volunteering your time to the Greenville School Career Day. If you could introduce yourself by telling us a bit about what your job or career is.
I am very happy to be here and very happy to talk about my career because as a technical writer, that basically started the ball rolling for every other aspect of my long career. So I was a technical writer for 34 years. And from that, I learned how to write novels. I learned how to write screenplays. I started my own company in 1995. That's Artistic Origins. And that was my publishing company for everything that I do. Right now, I have 22 published novels, 6 nonfiction books, 15 screenplays, 2 online courses, and everything you ever wanted to learn about me, you will find on the About page on my website, which is pretty extensive.
Thank you. So, what steps did you have to take to get to where you are now?
This is pretty interesting. Sometimes you just accidentally fall into something, and that's basically what happened to me. Back in the 70s, I was an executive secretary, and I guess nowadays you would call that an admin or an assistant position. So I worked for an engineering company, and I taught all of these engineers how to use the system that they had back then. There were no personal computers. There weren't even any, I'm trying to think. So there was nothing like Microsoft Word. Apple Computer wasn't even around yet. So there was this huge VAX 11780 computer system that literally filled a room. And I wrote the instruction booklet for that. And the interesting thing about it was that that booklet stayed into use at that company for 20 years. So that's really kind of cool.
That's so interesting. That's really great and a nice piece of our history there. Dawn, what do you love most about your job?
Oh gosh, as a creative writer, uh, sticking to a schedule every day, that includes, doing the writing and the researching and interviewing subject matter experts, tracking my progress. One thing I love to do is post on Facebook and other social media. This is how many words I wrote today. This is how many pages I wrote today. It gives you a little boost when people will, cheer you on. And as a technical writer, the organizational skills, because basically I learned how to keep myself completely organized and understand how to follow a schedule. And I mean, it's just really interesting, the things that you learn in the day job that transcend across all your, everything else. Uh, and I love working with interesting people from all walks of life. So that's it.
Thank you. So, what would you say are some skills needed? And you've kind of touched upon this with the soft skills in terms of organization, but what are those soft skills or even the more trainable skills required to be successful in a job such as this?
Well, it's very, very interesting that you brought that up. It's critical to have good listening and reading skills. If you're going to be any type of, a writing career, especially technical writing, because you are going to be talking with people that are, subject matter experts, which are engineers, service people, legal people, marketing people, and note taking when you're in meetings. Do not rely on your memory. It'll be gone in 3.5 seconds, gone forever. And you really have to understand the importance of being part of a team, interviewing experts and interpreting what they say into directions, even when they tell you that, you need to make changes to something. A lot of people get very sensitive about this. They think that they're being criticized, but they are not being criticized. It's, I want you to change this word. I want you to, move this around. This word doesn't match the picture that goes with this. So, these are all things that you can learn how to do, and you can learn through, going to meetings and things like this. So, and deadlines, meeting a deadline no matter what. That's
Yes.
critical, very
No,
critical.
no procrastination. I think that's a good message for our students to hear. It can
Well,
catch up to you.
especially in technical writing, because if you're writing a document or a manual that goes into a box with a product and your schedule gets bumped, then they're getting ready to ship out in the warehouse and they don't have that document. So it's critical
It's a
to be able.
domino effect.
Yes, it's
Absolutely. And
terrible. Yeah.
yeah. And that really rolls in nicely to the next question, which is what are some of the challenges that you face in this job?
As a technical writer, it's prodding people on the team to get the information that you need. Everybody in a corporate environment is very, very busy, and especially the engineers, because they're the ones that are, creating the product or whatever it is. And they're in meetings all the time, or they're off-site at some manufacturing site. I mean, you can never tell where they are, and you can leave 500 messages before you finally have to go to their manager and say, I need this. I mean, it's very nerve-wracking. The schedule and making sure everybody, sticks to the schedule. We've already talked about a missed deadline, how bad that can be. And some of the big challenges nowadays, well, before the pandemic, was the environment that you work in at the client site or your job. It could be a very noisy cubicle area. You're 10 to 1, you're not going to have an office. I think only the top people in the company have an office. I mean, even a lot of the engineers are in cubicles. They don't have offices. So it can be very noisy and very distracting, and you have to learn how to put yourself right there at your computer or the documents on your desk and try to phase things out in the background.
And I was going to ask, what is your work environment like? It sounds like that what you just described is really an option. Are there other work environments that you could also describe for this type of job?
Well, nowadays it's very possible to get a remote job so you can work at your house, and hopefully you would have a spare bedroom or somewhere with a door, so you can close it and you don't have to worry about, the dog barking or, you know, somebody in the other room with a TV blaring or something like that. I mean, I have a fabulous home office, and I have a laser printer that basically does everything that I could ever possibly want, and I've got my laptop, and it's just really important to have a really good environment if you're going to be working remotely. And sometimes that remote job also requires you to go into the office, 1 or 2 days a week. It just really depends on each individual company.
Thank you. Now, this next question may be tough to answer, but what are the salary ranges for various levels in this field? And would you say that there are opportunities for advancement in either salary or position?
Oh, yes, yes. So when I began my career, this was back in, like I said, the 70s. My first real technical writing job that I have was with Compaq Computer in Houston, Texas. They're no longer alive. They were bought out by HP, but it was a very important company at the time. And I started off at $35,000 a year. And when I retired from technical writing, I was making approximately $112,000 a year. So there's an awful lot of room for growth. And one thing that I liked about my whole career was, okay, so Compaq was the only job that I had where I was a direct employee. Everything else, I was a contractor. So when the contract ended, I would go to another company, get another, different type of job. And you learn a lot of different things hopping around that way. You learn all different skills. You learn how to do different types of documents and things like that. So, and to me, technical writing is a stepping stone to every other type of writing career. And there are high-end writing jobs that include like copywriting, legal writing, medical writing, grant writing. Those are really cream of the crop jobs. But you need a lot of experience to get something like that. So if you start off just doing a column at a little newspaper or a magazine, those are very critical things to mark down on your resume. And you always want to make sure that you pay attention to everything that you have done at a job and every job that you've had, because all of that adds up to, dollars in the long run. Your skills are very, very important.
Thank you. Another question. When you were in middle school or high school, were there any classes that you took or clubs, organizations you might have been involved in that contribute to or connect to your job now?
You better believe it. And everybody pay attention to this. English. You need to have grammar skills, spelling, and understanding more than just the basics. And something that really helped me was history, because that's where I learned how to research for all my projects. And as a writer, I don't care what kind of writing you're going to do, you're going to be researching everything about that, everything about your project. And then writing to learn how to put together a sentence and a paragraph to make your thoughts flow correctly. These things were really important. And I'll tell you what, I had fabulous English teachers and history teachers when I was in school. So pay attention to all that.
Thank you so much. Those are all the questions that I had for you today. I truly want to thank you for your time. I think that this will be an incredibly helpful interview for anyone who's thinking about writing, pursuing a degree in English, or someone who has an interest in technical writing, which is a really specific thing that students may not think about. So I always love having interviews like that here. So thank you so much for your time.
Oh, you're quite welcome. I'm just so happy that to be involved with this. It's really great.